This episode of Pool Magazine podcast is brought to you by Beatbot, the future of robotic pool cleaning. Beatbot's powerful cordless robots are designed to tackle every corner of the swimming pool with precision, using advanced navigation, smart sensors, and ultra-efficient suction. With easy app controls and high-tech features, it's never been easier to keep your pool crystal clear. No cords, no hoses, no hassle. Discover why more pool owners and pool pros are making the switch at beatbot.com.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine podcast. As always, Joe Trusty here, editor of Pool Magazine, and today I'm chatting with Fred Lachance, Director of Sales and Marketing with Moov Pool Products. They have a lineup that include inverter pumps, heat pumps, lighting, salt systems. Today, we're going to be spending some time chatting about inverter pumps. In fact, one intriguing product in particular, the Moov AI inverter pump. And I first discovered this product maybe last year while researching how pool manufacturers are adopting artificial intelligence to create self-learning products that produce more optimal performance. As one of the first pool manufacturers to maybe use this technology for pumps, Moov is definitely one of the companies on the move, so to speak, in terms of leading the charge of adopting AI technology as a core element of functionality in their equipment. But before we get deep into our conversation about that, I thought maybe a good starting point for us today would maybe be if you gave us a bit of background and bio about Moov as a company, your product line, and the markets you guys serve.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you first and foremost, Joe, for having me on the podcast. And yeah, Moov is a newer company in the pool scene. Was really founded by Richard Lachance, who's an industry executive that's been in the industry for almost close to 40 years, primarily with one of the big three suppliers initially for most of his tenure. Up until 2019, then left the industry for a couple of years, and then refounded really Moov in partnership with Fairland. So Fairland, most people are familiar with the top three. Hayward, Pentair, Fluidge being the top three companies in the industry, of course. But Moov was really founded with Fairland as a joint venture partnership, as Fairland is kind of the fourth secret kind of biggest player in the pool industry, if you'd like. They are the leading heat pump manufacturer globally, with around 250,000 pool heat pumps manufactured every year, hundreds of thousands of variable speed pool pumps every year as well, and many other products such as salt systems, cleaners, and are really at the forefront of technology. So for multiple years, Fairland has grew the business to become one of the leader in Australia markets, Latin America, Europe. They're very strong there as well. But the North American market's always been a bit more tough for them to kind of penetrate and get into for multiple reasons. There's legislation, there's a strong category here led by three main companies. Distribution is really controlled by two players as well. So there was really a bit of drawback, and they used to be really a private labeler company, which would manufacture products for other companies, which is still the case today. But we had needed, with the new products that were coming out, to centralize all the products under a single brand. And that's really what kind of launched Moov Pool Products as the North American brand, really for Fairland. So Moov really focuses on different key products, such as the variable speed pumps that are inverter pumps, inverter heat pumps, and then, of course, the salt systems that are quite popular as well amongst the cleaners, that the Fairland products are at the top of the category.
Well, thanks for that, Frederick. I mean, I appreciate you sharing some details about the company. What really drew me over to your booth this year at the Pool and Spa Show was the AI inverter pump. And I was hoping maybe that you can give our audience a brief overview about this product and what makes it so unique.
Sure. So the Moov AI pump is the first pump of its category that is an inverter pump launching in the North American market. So the inverter technology is a bit different, but the Moov AI pump is really a product that utilizes, first and foremost, an algorithm that's built into the drive module to detect the flow rate or estimate the flow rate in the system based on the pressure in the water line, and then automatically going to adjust if, for example, the filter gets clogged or any other equipment on the pad creates some restriction. The pump would recognize that and then automatically adjust its speed. So it is a variable speed pump that you can control by any other system like a percentage. And you can also control this product by flow control, which is really basically setting a required flow that potentially at 80 GPM, your waterfall looks nice and all the other features on the water pool look nice. And then that pump would automatically ramp or decrease its speed to ensure that it remains at the same GPM level.
You touched base on this for a second, but the Moov AI inverter pump claims to be able to self-learn and self-adjust to changing conditions in the pool environment. I mean, can you explain maybe the specific data points that this product collects and how this self-learning technology works over time?
Exactly. So the Moov AI pump, there's different ways of doing basic a variable speed flow controlled pump. You can do it like other competitors having a flow pressure probe, which is really a flow switch that monitor and is very expensive, and it's going to be a flow meter that's going to be really registering exactly the speed of the GPM in the water and then adjusting. It could be a valid opportunity to do that, but by doing so as well, the product price point gets really high. So the way we've approached this is by simply monitoring the pressure in the water line. When the Moov AI pump starts, it's actually going to do an initial 1,500 seconds, which is going to be cut in half depending on what's the performance, how well primed it is, and all that. Do self-prime first, and then afterwards run at 3 different set speeds to basically have some target points to really see, okay, what speed am I running at? What's the pressure that I can feel the water at? So it is a water pressure probe that's in there that's recognizing the pressure depending on the speed it's running at, the amperage and wattage it's pulling directly, and then afterward it's going to adjust its speed. So we're varying basically on the flow restriction that's happening in the product specifically. So the initial launch, really, when the product does start, does the warm up, does the self priming, then does multiple set speeds, then has a kind of set algorithmic saying, okay, I'm running at these are my 3 reference points. And if the pressure goes above and beyond or below the 3 reference points, then I'm going to simply adjust my speed. And then that's going to be based on the pressure probe as well as the watts that it is consuming to have the same efficiency on the product.
Well, that's really exciting. I mean, how accurate is its real-time response to maybe real-world issues, like say something basic like a clock filter?
Exactly. So the way we often present it is the pump is trying to run always at the same GPM, right? This isn't a flow meter precise this pump that you would have because that's going to be an equipment that would typically cost retail at $3,000. This pump is aimed to be targeted and retailed at $1,200. The objective of this product is to ensure that if there is variations in the water pressure or the filter gets clogged again or any other valves that could be misturned or whatnot, the product is going to automatically adjust. This is the main purpose of the product to ensure that the water features, again, look as nice as possible. Now, if you're trying to use this product and say, okay, well, you want the pool to run and you want your turnover to be exactly at 72 GPM, this product is going to have a variance of 10 to 15% roughly on the actual GPM. If you're measuring our GPM versus what's going out the water outlet, there will be a difference there, of course, due to the various reasons, and it's not an actual flow meter vis. But let's say we estimate that we're running at 80 GPM. Maybe the pump's going to be at 70, maybe it's going to be at 90, can be in that range, give or take. The good thing about this product is that since the pressure is going to, if the pressure changes, then automatically the pump speed will change as well. So we're not really taking care exactly of the speed. That's not the purpose. It's really on if anything happens on the water line, then the pump is going to adapt. And for example, let's say the pump was to increase its speed and it recognizes that there's more and more buildup happening that it has to increase its speed, and it gets to a level that it is too high, that the pump is actually running too high pressure and there's too much pressure in the water line, and there is risks of damaging either itself or any other equipment on the pad, that the pump then stops automatically. And then through the built-in Wi-Fi cloud control automation that we have, you would get notified on your phone, or your servicer would get notified on his phone as well, saying E3 error code happening on the product right now, too much restriction, the pump has now stopped. It needs to be manually checked and restarted to ensure that everything is fine on the water line. So this is really where, as well as new technology progresses, that built into all of our equipments, we have cloud control automation. We still adapt and work with any other automation panels out there. The pool attendant, for example, the systems from the big 3, we do communicate with those systems as well, no problem. But the way we view automation as a company that's growing is that our automation is going to be really cloud control. Every single product comes out smart. There's no board or panel that's regrouping everything and being, the brain is actually in the cloud. And as long as your products are connected to Wi-Fi, then everything is controlled remotely, accessible by servicers, technicians, or the customers as well. And also as us as a manufacturer, if we need to gather some data to report if there's any issues, customer can give us access to the product remotely, and then we can service them better that way.
You guys launched this with all of those automations baked into your products. I mean, so this stuff integrates with the existing smart pool systems like Pentair and Telecenter or your Hayward OmniLogic, right?
Exactly. So those systems are basically going to connect by a wire communication, the RS-485, which is very standard in the industry. We provide that cable from the get-go in the box, and we want to work with every other pad that's out there. We know that we're a new company that most builders won't make the flip right automatically on a newcomer like we are. So we communicate with them. But again, the way automation is going to progress in the industry, I personally don't think it's going to go to automation panels. Those automation panels were made back in the day to be the brain that would control every single product separately because the products weren't smart. They didn't have Wi-Fi integrations and all that. But as the industry's progressed, well, now the technology is much better and every single product can be controlled remotely. You can kind of a bit explode the pad if you'd like and have a pump from one supplier, the salt systems from another supplier, and the heater from someone else as well, because maybe all manufacturers aren't as good in every single product that they make. So we really want to kind of open up a bit the boundaries, more aligned in the 2025 vision, as well as that products are going to be cloud control. And if you're paying for a $100,000 pool with the equipment pad, well, it seems a bit odd that you have to pay potentially $2,000 or $3,000 more to have that pad connected on the pool on an automation center that basically just allows you to control it from your phone. So again, for us, the Moov systems, from the Moov AI to the Moov Inverter to the Moov cleaners and everything that we have, is really control on the Moov Pool app, which is free of download, comes with every single product that we make.
And I got the complete rundown on what's under the hood, but one of the most enticing aspects of maybe the Moov AI inverter pump is the quiet operation of this pump. So exactly how much more quiet is this product versus a traditional variable speed or single speed pump?
It is to the level that this product, there's no one else out there that has a motor that is more silent than ours. As I say to a lot of customers for the trade shows, for everything, I say, this is a live functioning unit. It's right out of the box. If you don't trust me, buy one. If you find one more silent than this one at the same HP level, I'll give it to you for free. It's really something that we're very confident in. And the product is actually so silent due to the main factor being that it is an inverter pump. So we often go and sell this as a variable speed product. Of course, it varies in speed. It also has a flow control in there, but realistically, the retail price point of the MSRP at $11.99 for a 1.65 dual voltage is really how clients would typically see to purchase that first, and the silence level and the Wi-Fi that's built in. But when you look at the technology, if engineers are looking at my product, it is actually in an inverter pump. So inverter technology is something that we use in most of our products. And inverter technology basically means that it's a current modulator system that current is going to go to your product into AC current. Now, AC current has a lot of wave fluctuation, tension drops, and can vary quite a bit. So everything that happens in an inverter drive is basically going to modulate the current from AC current to DC current. That DC current allows us to be, on most products, much more efficient, vary in speed more precisely, and it enables a lot more on, for example, the pumps, that you can now have a PMSM motor. So a PMSM motor, it is still a TFC, totally enclosed fan cool motor, still has the 3/4 Viton seal that we have in the motor. Nothing changes there. It's still variable speed. But a PMSM motor is a permanent magnet synchronous motor. So that motor, being a PMSM, is actually going to run much cooler than any other product out there. It creates much less friction because we're controlled by a vector control that's happening in the drive specifically. And a magnet motor as a whole is, of course, always going to be much more silent because of that less friction happening, and the fact that it's going to run a bit cooler as well than the other ones. So we're running this pump right now at 1 meter. You can detect 36 decibels. Often at shows, as we've seen, that clients pop in, they look at the product, they want to turn it on, and then they realize that the product is already on. It is that much more silent than any other product that is out there right now.
Well, thanks for giving us a breakdown about what inverter pump technology is. It's a relatively new term for our industry. What's the biggest challenge you guys think is getting pool professionals and homeowners to embrace this new term, inverter pump?
So I think you said it right. It's very new for our industry, but when you look at the global market, in Europe, for example, on the heat pump industry and the pump industry, the inverter pumps are now the new norm. It's not something that is high tech. It's something that's been out for 5-10 years. On the heat pump category, for example, it's been out for now close to 12 years, inverter heat pumps. So that inverter technology enables a ton of stuff that you can now put into products. And the big three are slowly introducing them to the North American market. But we feel that as those ships are very big and a long time to turn, we're really kind of a bit ahead of the boat here by being more aggressive. Now, the biggest drawback, of course, is it is a new brand. It's a new company. It's a lot of young people. The average age of people working at Moov is around 32, 33 years old. We're a lot of young folks working in the company on Canada, US, and Mexico. But the way we see this is that it's just about getting the product trial. Every time a customer tries one of our products, typically they're going to go back for it as well afterwards. And then it's building trust, right? So as any other company out there, and a lot of the clients we deal with, they've built their reputation built on service and how quick they were to react with the customers and everything. So our job on the sales team is to get the product tried out. And then afterwards is to ensure that they're satisfied with the service and that there's a trust that's built between, okay, the Moov team, as well as all the servicers, builders, retailers that are out there. So the potential first drawback would probably be that, as well as education. We're doing better and better in the North American market on the pool industry education side of things. But there's a lot of progress to be made. And when you do compare our industry to the other industries, such as, again, the European market, Australian market, and all that, those industries are typically 5 to 10 years in advance to us, either on gas regulations for heaters and heat pumps, to the technology that's used in the products, and overall just legislation that's surrounding the industry and the job of being a pool serviceman. So the Department of Energy in the US, though, is doing a good job. I think the best step that they've made recently is really forcing the industry to shift starting September to variable speed pumps as if it's above 1 HP. So we're quite happy about that. But still, there's a lot of drawbacks that we need to counter and change a bit the mentality of the current state of the industry, of course.
Absolutely. It's a slick product. There's a lot of really cool technology going on there. I mean, it makes me think that you guys are more of a category introducer or maybe a disruptor a bit than a me too. But what makes the Moov AI inverter pump kind of stand out compared to the more established brands that pool pros know, like the big three?
Of course. So I think the thing you notice more differently on our product is that first and foremost is a huge iPad on it. And it seems dumb and a bit unconventional to put an iPad on a product. And I can get that. It's a product that's meant to be outside in the backyard, in the shed. You don't really want to play with it. But often as the industry progresses, we see more and more consumers that they know less and less about their products. So often they get in the backyard, they don't even know how to turn on the pump. Oh, that's a pump. I thought that was the filter. Okay, what's that heater? That's a gas heater, right? No, that's a heat pump. So there's a lot of things that they don't really know what they're paying for. And it's not their job to necessarily know how the product works or what happens around it, but you do have to adapt to them at the same time. They want to go in the backyard and they expect now in 2025 that every single product is kind of like a product they can pick up off the shelf and understand very quickly. The user experience is something that we really value at Moov, that we have to make the information very easy and the products very easy to control as well. So right off the bat, when you open up the pump, you can see that huge iPad. There's a big percentage right in the center that you can see exactly the speed of the pump, what's it's running. At the top there, you see the wattage that is pulling, and then you can also connect it to Wi-Fi for more information and everything like that. But it is very kind of the user experience against of the product has been made that it is very dummy proof, very easy to understand and to control as well. And the sleek look and design, of course, of it by changing a bit the head of the pump, the cabinet of the pump. No one has really had a pump that launched in the market like the Moov AI until recently. So having a different product definitely enables us to position ourselves as a technologically advanced leader, as well as potentially introducing new technology. So if you had a pump that looked like any other pump and you said that's an inverter pump, probably be tougher for customers to understand. But by having something different really opens up a new kind of category of products, which are the inverter pumps, which we believe are going to take over the market quickly in the North American market.
Fred, thanks for giving us a better insight as to what you guys have been doing there. I mean, can you give us maybe a sneak peek at any upcoming developments Moov is working on?
Of course. So on the pool heat pump category, for example, global market of the pool heat pumps is, let's say it's around 500,000 units of pool heat pumps that are manufactured every year globally for the pool industry. Out of that, there's maybe 100,000, 150,000, depending on the years, that are sold into the US market / North America, including Canada. This market segment is primarily dominated by on and off heat pumps as well. So it's a regular heat pump that either heats or it doesn't. By having an inverter heat pump, which we have, and now AquaCal is also launching it simultaneously this year, this is a product that, for example, is going to modulate the current from 20% to 100%. So by doing so, your product is going to be much more silent. Everything is done automatically. The product is going to recognize at which speed it needs to run to, kind of like the Moov AI pump on the flow control. And this product is also going to be smaller breaker sizes, smaller electrical gauge, and your electrical savings are going to be much higher than a regular heat pump as well. So a unit, you would typically have a coefficient of performance on a heat pump of 6. With our heat pumps, we reach a COP of 18 on the turbo silence line. So that's 3 times more efficient than regular heat pumps. So the global market's really shifted to inverter heat pumps. In Europe, for example, it's now 95% of heat pumps sold there are inverter. In Canada, where we launched 3, 4, 5 years ago, the market shifted completely as well to inverter heat pumps. We were one of the strongest players there. Right now, with the market industry roughly around 50 or 60% now in inverter heat pumps. So we believe the market's going to go there on the inverter heat pump, and that's one of our core products as well as Moov. And Moov as a company, well, of course, you've seen our stance on automation, that we're trying to decentralize everything, go into the cloud control systems, which we already have available. That's something that we're going to progress. But to kind of finalize, I think to kind of round up everything, as I said, the customers less and less know what's happening in their pool. The pool water might be clear, but they think everything is fine, but the pH is maybe at 8.2, 8.4. There's probably phos, but there's probably a lot of things that they don't really know what's going on in the chemistry of their pool. So Moov is going to be building and coming out shortly with a new product as well that's going to manage really the chemical control of your pool. If you control your pH, if you control your ORP, which is basically the chlorine level, we're going to have an all-in-one system that is currently available out there, of course, but we're trying to do it really at a price-sensitive level to kind of shift more and more of the market to. That's going to control automatically the pH as well as the ORP. And by doing that, well, the Moov catalog portfolio is really going to become kind of a forefront leader in the technologies that we do. To kind of finish off, Moov is a company. Our vision is not to be a full pad supplier with X amount of options and 300 pages in our manual. We try to be really specialized in what we do because I think there is room for in this industry for more players to come in and be specialized in what we do. So we only do heat pumps. We don't do gas heaters. We only do inverter variable speed pumps with flow control. We don't do single speed. And there's a variety of products that we don't dabble into. We remain focused on what we do to be specialized and really know what we are talking about when it comes down to it with the consumers.
Sure. I mean, sticking to core competency is definitely, I also love platform agnostic. So there's a lot there that, just resonates with me. Fred, thanks so much for taking time out to connect with our audience today. Really appreciate you providing us with some clarity as to what Moov is up to and giving us a better explanation of what inverter pump technology is all about.
Well, thank you so much, Joe, for having me, and hope I see some of you guys at the upcoming shows in a couple of weeks.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for today. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
This episode of Pool Magazine Podcast is brought to you by Beatbot, the future of robotic pool cleaning. Beatbot's powerful cordless robots are designed to tackle every corner of the swimming pool with precision, using advanced navigation, smart sensors, and ultra-efficient suction. With easy app controls and high-tech features, it's never been easier to keep your pool crystal clear. No cords, no hoses, no hassle. Discover why more pool owners and pool pros are making the switch at Beatbot.com.